welcome to Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things related to creating, living, and making projects. I'm your host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Jessy Ratfink and Adam Mackey. How you all doing this week? Jessy, what's in your clamps?
Wow, that was some serious Hulk Hogan energy.
Yeah, I'm wide awake now.
So this week, basically, we have a couch that is 6 years old. It has survived 3 puppies in that time. So it's a little ragged. And both of our dogs do that thing where they scratch before they lay down. So it's getting worse every day. But I have devised a plan to fix this. I think I'm essentially going to make some very weird quilted patches and then just use for like fusible interfacing and stick them to the couch. Because I just need it to last for like a year, maybe. Not long. I just need it to last. I don't want to buy a big couch before and have to like move with it because that is kind of like on our horizon somewhere. So, yeah.
Plus, you always when you move into a new place, the couch you buy may not be a good fit for that new place.
Yeah, that also, we
even
had
if
that
it's
problem in Oakland. Yeah. Our couch was our whole living room.
Right.
You guys think I'm joking, but literally wall to wall in our living room. It was unreal.
I remember going to people's houses like that that's like student housing. They're like, my parents gave me this couch and this is so that I have it. And it's like this crazy sectional that goes around the corner and hits 3 different walls somehow. And you're like, how is that possible? Yep.
Yeah. So
good times.
That's my weekend project, I think. We're going to have really wonky patches on our couch, but maybe I can make them look, boho or something. I'm not sure.
Hobo?
Hobo, yeah. I think that's more likely. Good luck.
Yeah,
you can add a whole new category to the maker scene.
Yeah, the hobo aesthetic.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what I've been working on, I am currently shitting bricks, to be honest. I signed on at work this morning, checked my emails to find an email about my new job. So I work tomorrow. Straight after work, we're going away for the weekend. And then when I come back to work on Monday morning, I have an interview. And for the interview, I have to make a presentation and pretty much act as if I'm actually training someone in real life sort of thing and run through this presentation. It's not allowed to be any longer than 10 minutes. So I'm going to try and aim for 9 minutes 55. So it's right on the dot. But now pretty much our holiday that we have planned for this weekend, I have to spend majority of it sitting behind a computer trying to work out my presentation and all that. But I'm not overly concerned about making the presentation. I'm more how do I enter the room? And then do I just enter and then start the presentation? Or am I meant to enter and it's just the starting it. Once I get going, I'll be fine. It's just the getting in the room and do I get in the room and introduce myself and then they'll say, okay, well, when you're ready, start your presentation. Or
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That 100% will be the way. You will also even if it's people who are interviewing you, you should pretend go into the room I
don't know,
as if you've never met them. You wouldn't go and train someone, walk into the room and just go right into it. You would have some chit chat. You'd have an icebreaker. They're going to ask you questions. Well,
that's So they've given me 4 topics to choose from. And I have to do a presentation on one of them. And all the 4 topics are train related. So I've already picked what topic I'm going to do because it's the one that I know the most about. Well, actually, I've heard rumors that when you go for driver trainer, you pick the topic yourself. And it doesn't have to be train related. And a few people, the one guy that actually got the job did it on magic tricks. So, but yes, I was interested that they actually gave me topics to choose from, which is good because there's one of the topics every time I do like a training class that we have to do them every now and then. Everyone struggles on train signals, which is like the traffic lights for trains. And for some reason, I just get it. I just know how, like, I understand them, and everyone else seems to struggle with them. So I'm going to focus on that. That's going to be my topic. But I'm going to walk in the room as if I'm walking into a room of students because I think that's what they're wanting me to do. They're wanting me to treat them as if they don't know anything.
That's
and try and teach
definitely a good way to, like, anytime you're answering a question in an interview, they're not asking you the question because they want the answer. They're asking the question so that they can check off a box saying that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like,
that's yeah.
HR is what I studied in and what I wanted to do as a career at a little bit. And interviewing people was one of the things I enjoyed, but it is in the government of Canada, like, difficult because you basically have to be very fluently bilingual to do it. Because, or else you end up not being able to interview half the people. But the other thing is, like, they really pushed it to management. They pushed all the functions of that people traditionally see as an HR role to management because managers are the ones making the decision. So it kind of makes sense. But if you have any questions, or any listeners out there, questions about HR and stuff, I have a little knowledge and experience in it.
Well, by the time this episode comes out, I will have already finished the interview and everything. So, but essentially, I got 10 minutes of the presentation and then a 20-minute interview after the presentation. But it says with the presentation to allow time for questions and stuff. So I assume that's like as if I'm in a classroom, students are going to ask questions. So I plan on actually making some questions to ask them at the end to, one, show them that, like, one, I'm trying to make sure that they took on what I've taught. And two, also, I feel like having a little, like, questionnaire of questions at the end helps ingrain what you've learned into your brain.
Yeah, totally.
So I think, and I'm going to explain that to them as well afterwards. It'd be like, I've made this. I'm going to explain to them, like, I've made this couple of questions to try and help ingrain it into your mind and all that. Make sure you understood what I've taught you.
No. Yeah. And I know, like, this isn't really great for an interview, but I think it would be really funny if you started it off this way, because this is the way I like to do presentations where I'm teaching stuff, is I like to, like, start it off with, like, talking to the people about what they're hoping to achieve out of the thing, so that I can have a better understanding of where to focus my attention.
Yeah.
And that's, like, for an interview, it may not be, like, a great topic to start, but if anyone's giving training, if you talk to people what they're hoping to achieve out of something, it really helps you to understand them a lot better.
Yeah. I think also too, in saying that, like, you don't, when you go through train college, you don't have one trainer for the whole thing. So actually going in and understanding what they've already learned is probably actually a really good point, because they might have already done signals and you can say, okay, well, what would you like to try and improve on? What don't you remember or whatever? So
right. That's a good point. It's not great for the interview because that's not what they're trying to get you at. But if you get this trainer job, then yeah.
Well, I mean, like the whole question thing at the end is something that I would do in real life. And that's what made me think
I think that's great too. I just was giving, little pointers. I think it's what we do when
everything
we do
helps.
It in we do presentations on, like, what does our section in our office do, and we get people to start it off by writing down secretly 2 to 3 things that they're hoping, like, questions that they're hoping to get answered by attending the presentation. And then at the end, we get them to look at the things that they were hoping to get answered. And if we haven't answered it, we have a chance to answer it. And if we have answered it, well, then we reinforce it, because that's clearly the thing they were looking to learn. Yeah. So you may want to try that one. I think that would be really an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
If that would be...
and that's the thing too. Like I want to be a trainer, because when I went through train college, like, the trainers to be honest, kind of sucked. Like the first time I ever worked a train, my trainer was asleep within 3 stations. He's like, "Oh yeah, you got this," and just went to sleep. And I'm like,
Oh my
that
God.
just makes me want to be a trainer more because I feel like so many trainers have failed being a trainer in the past that I want to be good. I want to be a good trainer and be good at what we need
Don't
to do.
tell them that because they
No, I'm
might
not going
take
to.
offense.
Yeah,
Like I get why you're saying it, and I 100% just say, I want to be a trainer because I know like it could be really hard. Uh, there's anyways, it's you never know who you're talking to and how they may take your
yeah.
question. And
I also don't want them going back and going, "All right, who was his trainers?" and let's go through and work out where they are. And
right, and it might be like their boss now, right? You never know.
yeah,
Uh, or the person who's hired. You know what I mean? Anyways,
yeah.
um, well, good luck, and
Thank
Yes,
you.
good luck.
post on the Discord. If you guys didn't know, all you listeners out there, we have a Discord for the Clamp podcast where anyone can join the Discord. And Adam is going to be going on the Discord after the interview at some time, ungodly time in the morning for us, but normal time in Australia, and let us know the results of that interview and how he felt it went.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, what have I been working on, you ask? Well, I'll be honest. I've been doing a little bit like the most. I don't know. Let me just like look at my photos and see. I've been skating, and I have been working on French. Um,
Oh.
because I too would like a promotion at work, and if you work in the government of Canada, you need
Speaking of bilingual,
to be bilingual to move up. And if I'd ever want to move up, I need to work on bilingualism. And if I can't get the French, if I can't ameliorate mon français, I got to really think about like where I want to go in the future because there's no future for me in the public service without it. So that's where I've been trying to concentrate myself. So I haven't been making as much, but I have some plans for the future, plans of projects that I want to get done, maybe involving clamps.
So, out of curiosity, how long have you been learning French?
My entire life because I live in Canada and they started in kindergarten. But so I left like grade 9 was the last time I took it as a student because that's in Canada, well, at least in Ontario, you have to take it until grade 9. And then after that, I didn't take it again until I was in my 20s and I joined the government of Canada and they offered me French training. So I took it and I got my bilingual certification according to the government. And then just like I was in a junior position and I didn't have a lot of interactions with French. So I kind of lost it. So it's
Yeah.
probably been 10 plus years since I've really tried to do anything really French related. And it's just like, that's the problem is when you're young and have time, they often, I was lucky and they offered French training, but they often don't offer it to young people. They offer it to like the people who are in positions for supervisory or director level or executive level positions. Often get offered a lot more training because they want to invest in these people, and I understand that. But they don't have a lot of time because they've got families, they've got careers, they've got real jobs to do. Whereas like the worker bees can sometimes get away from it. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but I feel like I don't have the time now that I had back then to dedicate to doing the French. Plus, I feel like in today's world, the distractions are so like if I'm trying to do something online and it takes a 33 seconds to load, I'm already on my phone.
yeah,
Because I know my
100%
phone,
agree.
like, especially if
You're
I'm doing
so
something on
impatient.
Yeah, which I grew up with. Like loading a JPEG online would take a minute sometimes, right? Like, 26.6 modem
Remember
trying to like
loading
down.
screens
Yeah, I
in
remember
games? Like,
downloading. I remember downloading an MP3 and pressing like go and going to bed and hoping
Yep.
the MP3 would be done
Yep.
in the morning, right? Not the movie. And not like now we stream movies like it's nothing, but
like
I'm like,
3
I
minutes.
remember this. Right.
Yeah,
So,
3 minutes long.
yeah. And I guess I've realized that my ability to regulate myself has been very challenging.
Mm.
And it's something that I've definitely been dealing with more recently. And I know part of it is like technology isn't helpful in that way. Like they design these things to be addictive, and they they prey on the dopamine hits or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's. And I know growing up, I definitely had that same like problem with like TV. The only way I could get away from TV is when the commercials would come on, and that would break me
Mm.
out.
Yeah.
And I'm having the same thing now, except for I can swipe the commercials away, right? Like,
Yeah. People watch just commercials anymore.
right. So I
I
guess, yeah, I don't know. It's just hard.
I
It's
realized
harder now.
I realized that I have a problem when I started watching TikTok while going to the toilet. And I must say, number one, not number two. I was watching TikTok while standing there
That
doing a
is
wee.
ridiculous.
And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. So it's I've watched TikTok while brushing my teeth. And not like TikTok or like a YouTube video. While brushing my teeth
Yeah.
with an electric toothbrush. So I can't hear anything. Right? It's max volume, still can't hear anything. Right? You got an electric toothbrush right in your face, right?
Oh my
And I'm like,
God.
what am I doing? Why am I holding this up? Like, what? I can't spend 60 seconds away from my phone. And this is like
If I'm
times where I just go like, I need to do something. And I've been taking, I saw my doctor and I've been taking meds, and now I've been on them consistently for over a month.
Mhm.
And at first I felt like they helped, but now I feel like
you've become immune
they
to them.
don't. Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if
That's
you're
a
not
big
on the
issue with
highest
medication.
dose, you can
Yeah.
still raise it. I had to raise mine to the max. Like, you there's still options.
Right. So I was on a lower dose, and it like when I first started it, it was working, and it stopped working. Then I got the higher dose, and the side effects were bad. Like I felt like I had morning sickness. Is the best way I could say,
Ooh,
like
yeah,
explain
that's
it to
rough.
people. Where I would just like out of the blue feel like I was like nauseous and about to throw up, which it's not helpful if you're working. It's not helpful if you're doing anything, but like sometimes it would like come on and I just couldn't battle it. But yeah, so I don't want to like I'm afraid to go up to another higher dose if the side effects aren't going to get better, right? Like they're not going to new higher dose, it's going to be better, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I
That's
think I just need to be more mindful.
my wife's on medication for depression and stuff, and she wants to get off it, but she's waiting till I go on annual leave in May so that she can just get off them, like just stop taking them and just deal with the side effects for like the couple of weeks it's going to take, because she knows it's going to destroy her. I ran out of my anxiety meds like 2 weeks ago or a week ago on a Friday, not realizing, and then I couldn't get my script because it was at we keep it at our local chemist, and he was closed on the weekend. So I couldn't get my script till Monday. For that weekend, I was an absolute prick. Like my anxiety and everything shot through the roof. I'm like, wow, my medication is actually doing something,
Right.
because I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does help, but it's sometimes hard to like recognize that it's helping.
Mm.
I don't know. It can be difficult.
My alarm went off to take my meds this morning, and I was laying in my car, and I thought, I better fucking take these meds because I got this thing on Monday, and I don't want any reason to be stressed or anxious over the next few days.
Right. Well, so my biggest problem with it was getting into a routine. of taking the
That's why I have an
meds.
alarm.
So now I have a thing in the morning. It just has a pop up, my notification on my phone says meds, and I have to mark it complete once I've done it. So that's been working for the last month. It was like I was doing it every day with the coffee in the morning. Had the meds next to the coffee, get the coffee, take the meds. Everything was good, but like I would miss a day, and I would miss a day on the day I went into the office.
Yeah.
Right. So like if I miss it and I'm at home, I'm like, oh, forgot. I'll just walk upstairs and get the meds. Right. But if I missed it and I'm already on the bus, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm, completely screwed here. So,
Well, that was one of my big issues too, because I don't have a routine. I'm not home at the same
right.
time every day. Like, so I keep, I when I get my packet of tablets, I usually cut like 10 off and I put them in a container at home because I spend more time at work than home. And then I keep them in my work bag. But I've got some at home as well. So depending on if I'm off for that day, because if I've got a day off, I'm not going to go search my work bag for my tablets. I just get them while I'm in the kitchen getting a drink.
Right. So all that to say is, dealing with with different things in your life can be, problematic and can stop you from enjoying the things you enjoyed or
For sure.
getting after the things that you wanted to do. But it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop Adam wanting to ask us questions. He tried to submit a bunch of Ask Us Anythings, and we said no. You can't. Sorry, Adam. You're not.
No.
You can't. Yeah. Jessy said, yeah, sure, why not? But I was like, no. Instead, let's have a whole episode where Adam asks us anything.
Yeah. It's funny, because I was looking at like random username generator so I could just put like a random person asked me the questions. And I was like, this won't work anymore because Jessy's going to make a post or something and tag them and not be able to find them. Or if I do someone that I do know, they'll be like, I didn't ask that question. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
right.
So, yeah. So anyway, I have a few questions that I wanted to add to the Ask Us Anything list. Number one is, what is your biggest fear?
I can go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire. Absolute. Yeah. The worst injuries I have had are burns. So I am forever reminded of, fire or extremely hot things like oil. And also, it doesn't help that we had the wildfire here in 2020. So, I'm fucking terrified of fire. It is one of the scariest things to me.
So the house 3 doors down from us, I don't know if you saw my stories, a bunch of people saw, like there were 8.
Yeah, I saw that.
8 full fire engines, at least 8. There might have been more around the corner. And then there was like a bunch of like sometimes they have like an SUV or like a panel van fire that's like from the fire station. So there was 8 plus all these other emergency vehicles plus police officers plus everything. So I talked to the guy who's the owner of the house there. I talked to him today. I saw him finally. I'd seen him like on the day, but he had other things to deal with. He's in good spirits. He doesn't. I don't think it bothers him too much. His daughter lives across the street, and that's where he's staying. But the big, like, I talked to him, like, what started the fire? And so it was 2 things. It was likely a cigarette. So he had renters who smoked, and it wasn't. He doesn't know whether or not like they dropped a cigarette or whatever, but they were like smoking on his deck. And underneath his deck, he had like put a plywood on top of an old pool pump, and he didn't have the pool anymore. And he just like put it on there to like protect the pool pump and just forgot about it. And like 10 years later, it was all dried out and and dusty and all that. So it's probably an ember went on that, caught the dust on fire, and he had a gas leak, an outdoor gas leak. Wow. And this is why it went from like nothing to like that's why 8 fire trucks were there. Like it was apparently insane, like the black smoke everywhere, and like it was hot enough to ignite the like non like insulation is not supposed to be burnable. It
Mm-hmm.
melted it melted stuff that's like supposed to be the like safe for burning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, speaking of gas leaks, that is like slightly related to my fire fear. Um, I don't know. I think in the last couple years, at some point, I learned that if you have enough pressure from snow on top of your propane tank, it can cause an explosion.
Whoa.
I
What?
had never considered this,
Sounds possible,
um,
like plausible, like
but
How heavy is snow?
well, I mean,
very.
you have to think we get feet of snow. And so I
That's
can't even
that's
like,
meters for people in Australia.
yeah, meters of snow. But yeah, I
Three and a
saw
half
some
feet's a meter.
photos of where that had happened in super snowy areas, and there will just be a fucking crater in the snow. And I
Wow.
was
Okay.
like, oh my God. So I went out there and like cleared the propane tank off right away when I saw that. Oh my God.
So now you have a
Right.
fear of snow. That's
If it's on
terrifying.
the propane tank.
Well,
So in
actually,
other words, you're scared of fire and then you're scared of the opposite. Snow.
Yep. Well, also a little of water, like being in the ocean, that is also
Just
terrifying.
just Mother Nature in general.
Mother Nature,
fair.
yeah, she's amazing and
She's a bitch.
she will beat your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snow is like I've seen a like I remember last year on TikTok there was a bunch of people in I want to say like Oregon, but it may have been Colorado, but they were like digging out their houses and the snow was like they had cracked like giant roof beams in half and like the amount of
Oh.
snow on their roof and just like they got dumped of like like 10 feet of snow on top of like the normal amount of snow. And it just like all came so fast that there was nowhere for it to go.
So
Mhm.
when you see in movies of like a cottage in a hill getting smothered in snow, it's probably not accurate.
No, it's
I
probably
mean,
100% accurate.
yeah.
But like it wouldn't crush. See,
Oh, no, yeah. There was houses that got crushed. So,
yeah.
my trailer, if I don't
Mhm.
clear the snow off my trailer, there have been multiple people who have had the trailer collapse
Wow.
Oh.
from snow
So
load. Like, nobody's ever in it, like, because it's like
Mhm.
stored in the winter. And then they come out and
I get maybe you didn't think about it with the propane tank, but do you not have like growing up making sure you clear off your roof and stuff for this reason? Or is that not something people talk about?
So here's the thing, in most of the like southern United States, you never had to think about that until like
Yeah.
recently. And even here, we don't clear the snow off our roof. It
yeah,
just
me
has
either.
like a really steep pitch. And so
Right.
most of it, it doesn't stay. But oh, I don't know. I'm not as worried about the roof. I don't know why.
Well, so with the roof, it isn't as a big of a deal because one, you got the steep pitch, but also like it generally the wind takes it away and it falls on the
Mhm.
ground, and the propane tank is on the ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that totally
Well, I'm assuming
is
the
what.
propane tank is probably underneath the pitch of the roof too. So all it goes down the roof onto the propane tank.
Thankfully, it's a little away from the house. I think if it craters, we'll
Right.
be okay.
How big is a
Yeah.
propane tank? What are we talking about here? Because like you mean like you have gas in your house, like your oven runs on gas or something, or
So
She
it's
probably has
for
propane.
heating.
Yeah,
So let's
probably
see.
like Hank Hill level of propane
Like a tank
because
that's
he's
bigger than me, like a huge one. Let me see.
like one that you would see at like a service station to fill up a gas bottle.
yes.
Right.
In the
Yeah.
States, they have those as like if you live in the country, instead of having natural gas
Mm-hmm.
or other things for heat, you can use propane
Right.
and
Yeah. So
propane accessories.
I
Actually,
assuming
ours might be
yes, Hank
I
Hill.
don't know what sort of gas it is. You know what I
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. So, but essentially, like if you don't live in the sticks, you have plumbed gas. in the street?
Generally speaking, yes, but it all
Probably?
depends
Yeah,
on where
okay,
you live.
because we have that here.
Yeah, because it's definitely varied. Yeah, just
Right.
depending on the house for me.
Yeah, like we don't have it
Not
in
at
our
all.
street, but our
That's
neighbor
weird.
has 2 like gas tanks on the side of their house that get replaced. They just like come
Right.
out and they swap them over.
Yeah. So I'd say my biggest fear is this is the thing that like keeps me up at night is worrying about like becoming blind or deaf or maimed or disfigured in a way that stops me from being able to contribute to society
That is
in
a
my
valid fear.
household or driving or doing things like thinking about potentially going blind can keep me up all night,
Wow.
which is like a definitely like I don't know why. And it can like enter my head and then just fucking sit there. And I remember, and then Brian House had this thing where he was talking about like existential crises on the podcast and like death and stuff. And that night, I was just like, the whole night, I was just like thinking about going blind. And I was like, why the fuck am I thinking about this? Like, think positive thoughts. And I just like couldn't break it out of my head. And I'm like, this is stupid. You're probably not going to go blind. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, no one in my family is like got the blindness disease. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a, like some people, like as they get older, like my grandmother's over 100 and can still see. She can't hear
Mm.
it all, but she can still see. So I think like going blind is like my biggest fear.
Mm.
So that's I suppose there's a fear for everything, hey? Like someone's always scared of something. Because that would have never crossed my mind to be a thing. I know I've heard of a few people that are afraid of death, which is kind of similar to mine. Like I'm not afraid to die, but I'm kind of like I'm afraid that I will die before I sort of get to live my life, if that makes sense, and
Mm.
raise my kids and all that sort of stuff. Like if I die, I die. Like I don't care about dying, but I do care that I don't fulfill my need beforehand, if that makes sense.
So this is where that's my fear is not going blind. My fear is living for like 20 years blind after living
Yeah.
for like 60 years sighted and not being able to not being able to like deal with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like my fear is like the sense of like loss or like the sense of like confusion, the sense of like knowing that you used to be able to do something you can't anymore. And I
Mhm.
guess that can go for anything. Like I
Yeah.
guess I look at my grandmother over Christmas. I saw her, and it was like honestly like sad. It wasn't like it was the first time I think like obviously someone who's over 100 like you're not expecting them to be like jumping around and like doing handsprings or something, but it wasn't like I didn't feel like she was my grandmother anymore. It felt like she was like a shell of a person now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was kind of sad. And I don't want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my fear. So thanks for getting us down this topic.
We'll try to go
Sorry.
up now.
I didn't mean to make it dark, but I wanted to quickly say though, you're saying like I think the big thing about that is, like so if you're born blind or born deaf, I'm not saying you don't suffer, but if you were to lose that later on, I feel it'd be so much harder than never having it to begin with.
In
Because
some ways,
you
and in
know
some
what
ways
you're
not.
missing out on.
Right. But you also have the
Memory.
memories of it so that you can it can help you in navigating stuff because you
Yeah, I
get
suppose.
how everything you was. Now, of course, someone who was in 1930s was sighted and lost it and now is trying to live in the 2020s, that's going to be a little bit of a different story because things have changed so
Yeah.
much. But, I think if I
I
lost my sight
suppose, yeah.
tomorrow, I would at least understand generally how to grab a railing, where curbs are, understanding
Yeah.
like where doorknobs generally are and where light
Mhm.
switches are. Like the same way, like you walk into a room completely pitch black, you don't just immediately smack the wall, right?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if you were to lose your hearing, would you remember sounds? Like, say, for instance, a train goes past. Would you, in your mind, know what that sounds like if you've heard it enough times before?
Probably.
Would you?
So, as a person who has lost their sense of smell, I can tell you that I remember smells. I remember orange and I remember McDonald's. And those are the only ones that I can like.
Which probably McDonald's probably smells nothing like it did when you could smell it.
Right. I remember it as I see a commercial in this, like when I was a kid, I would see a commercial for McDonald's, or I would see an orange in a commercial. Like, they used to have like the commercials where there was like 1,000 oranges crammed into like a juice box or whatever, and it's like, we're not
Yeah.
made from concentrate. And I don't know exactly why this commercial stands out, but I could smell orange whenever I would see that commercial,
Interesting.
which is like screwed up because I can't smell an orange today,
Yeah.
but I can't remember a lot of the other smells.
All right. Next question is, what is your favorite profanity?
Shitbird.
Like, define favorite, like the one I want to use the most, the one I like hearing the most, or the one I do use the most.
It's up to you. Whatever you interpret the question.
And I think it's just like an old like motherfucker or something like.
That's a good one.
Just fuck.
Well, fuck can be
Like,
added to everything. So,
Mhm.
right.
I
Like, I
I'm
think
gonna
it, like it
sound.
depends on like how I'm using it. Like that motherfucker. Like, I think there's like the way. But like if I was ever like trying to do any other accent, it'd be cunt for sure. But again, you can't do that
So-
in North America.
Yeah. So I know, like, as an Aussie, I am going to say my favorite profanity is cunt, and it's not. I don't mean it in a derogatory way. Like, that's the thing. Like some people will be
Then
like,
it's
"Oh, you
not
can't say that
profanity.
word." No. But I mean, like, some people will be like, "Oh, that's like offensive," but I don't mean it in the term of like it being your vagina. I mean it in the term of like, "You're a cunt," or "What's up, cunt," or you know what I mean? Like to me, it's like it's hard to explain to people because like in Australia, it's such a normal word for younger people. Like my
Yeah.
mum would never use that word or anything, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I just like the word. It just rolls off the tongue nicely, especially fucking cunt.
All right, Jesse.
Oh, did y'all?
It's a shitbird.
Yeah, I said it right away. Shitbird. I love that one.
Oh, I missed it. Shitbird.
Mhm.
Good one.
Very
Alright, well, that's a
southern.
good What is one thing you guys miss from your childhood that you wish you could bring back? And I'm going first this time because I worry one of you steal it. So I know it might sound weird, maybe I don't know, but like Blockbuster, I miss Blockbuster.
No, I
Like,
can understand that.
Like imagine this, right? Like my kids will never understand the process of your parents being like, let's go to Blockbuster, that excitement, having to walk around the shop and find a movie and hope that there's the empty case behind it, that it's
Yep.
available, or a video game or whatever. Like you can't beat the joy and process that went through, or there not
Mhm.
being the empty case and checking the returns bin to see if someone's returned it. Like, you know, I still can remember going up to the counter as someone's coming in to return their stuff and me seeing what they have is what I was looking for that was out of stock and be like, hey,
Nice.
can I get that? And they return it. You know, like you never get that ever
Nope.
again.
And this is where I feel like it's the same thing with like Christmas and birthdays. It's like scarcity is what you actually miss. And we have if I want something, I just buy it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I know my parents did not live that way,
Yeah.
right? I did not, like, I know, I look back and I see all the toys that I had and I know I had a lot of them, but I definitely had like even more wants, right, as a kid.
Yeah.
But what it was is like there was scarcity to stuff. Like
Mm.
going to Blockbuster, we had in Canada Jumbo Video, or maybe this was just like a Kingston thing. But like, yeah, you would go to the video store and you would hope to find that copy of a video, and you would sometimes
Yeah.
just like rent something for fun,
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
right? And now, like now, there's too much available, and at the same time, a lot of it's garbage.
Yep.
Mhm.
And there
Yeah.
was a lot, like there was a lot of bad movies in the past too, but I feel like there's just so much now, right? Like you used
Yeah.
to have, like
Yeah.
growing up, I remember being in a place where we had like 3 channels of TV, like
Mm.
4 on
Now
a
there's
good day, where
hundreds.
the antenna would
Yeah, we had
potential.
two.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah, and now there's no more channels. Channels aren't even a thing,
We don't even have an aerial plugged into our TV. Like for our free to air channels, we just stream them.
right?
Mhm.
That's what I mean. There's
It's
no more channels.
yeah.
Channels aren't a thing. I don't like one of the things. So if we want to talk about things I miss from growing up, that's related to what we just talked about, is at one point we had like 50 channels, and I think that was the perfect amount. And what I used to do, because TVs used to be able to do this, is as I could press the button, it would change the channel. I used to just flip through as fast as I could and just flipping through to see if anything caught my eye. And I would go through the channels twice. If nothing caught my eye, turn it off. And that's how I found Walking Dead for the first time. Because Norman Reedus was in it, and I like Boondock Saints, and I saw him, and I said, "I like that actor. Let me see what's happening here." Right? Because it just was like a quick flip, 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 flip. Saw that thing. Oh God! Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds good. And I saw an episode of Walking Dead, and then I was hooked. Right? And I wouldn't have done like today. You can't do that. You would see a title, right? If you're looking, because now it's all
Mhm.
guide, and you can't, like, if you've ever tried to flip to the next channel on a satellite or cable TV, you can't. Or it's like Netflix and Disney Plus, where it's like they're really pushing. Watch my Netflix original. Watch this,
Yeah.
the latest Marvel, and I'm like, show
Mhm.
me the continue watching, please.
Mhm.
I was in the middle of
Yes.
the movie. Where the hell is it now? It used to be at the
Yeah.
top. Now it's buried. I
So
hate it.
it's interesting you say that with Netflix and everything because, like, and we talked about commercials before, right?
Right.
That they used to put so much effort into the trailer for a movie and TV show to get you to watch it. But now it's like YouTube. Netflix and everything is all about the thumbnail and how the image looks as you're scrolling through their massive lists of movies and shit.
Mhm.
It's
But
not
even
like back in
that,
the day where you used to want to see the trailers for everything.
even think about it. I hated trailers. Always hated them. Never liked watching them. But I liked movie posters. Movie
Mm.
posters to me are something that's almost gone
Yeah.
because now they've taken the same way YouTube thumbnails have gone, where it's just like someone did something that got popular. O face, right? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, every single YouTube thumbnail looked like that. And now Mr. Beast is like, oh no, just smile like a regular person. And guess what?
Mm.
Now everyone's on their front of their thing smiling like a regular person. And like whatever happens. And that's what's happening with movie posters. Look at movie posters. They all look the exact same.
Same. Yeah. It's funny you say that you hate trailers because I did growing up and
Yeah.
now I like to watch them. Like if we go to the movies, I want to see the trailers.
No, 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 because trailers these days give away all the plot points. And I hate
do.
it. And
You
especially
know,
with horror, like you don't want to know what's coming before it happens.
yeah.
Right.
You know what also pisses me off? Last time we went to the movies, which was like a couple of weeks ago, it was 25 minutes from the time it said the movie started to the movie actually started.
Oh my
Like that's
god.
fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Right. I remember when there was like 2 trailers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and like that was back in the first times that they told you to turn your cell phone off. There were still only
Mhm.
2 trailers, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
When we went the other day, there was like TV ads for like free to air TV, then the whole turn your phone off thing, and then movie trailers. Like they had like I've never. It's the first time I'd ever seen that of like normal ads. It was weird.
That is weird, but that's the way. Anyways, let's not get down
Cookie
that
crumbles.
dark path. Next question.
Oh, wait,
Hang
I
on.
didn't
Just-
answer. Did I?
Yeah.
Hmm.
No.
Okay, so this
Do you
one
miss
is
from your
what do
childhood?
you wish from your childhood would still around?
What do you wish you could bring back? What do you miss
What
and
do
you
I
wish
wish
you
I
could
could
bring
bring
back?
back? Clean lakes. I know that is kind of a random one, but when I was little, my whole life was swimming in Kentucky Lake, and now
Yeah.
I would not set foot in that thing.
It's funny. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I
When
really
I grew
miss
up, when I grew up, there was a place not far from me now. We just call it the Footbridge, and we would go there all the time. Grow up. My wife hates going there because my whole life, every single birthday party and everything was there. Whatever, but like we would jump off the bridge into the water and all this stuff. I wouldn't step foot in that water now.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I mean, some people
Yay,
still do, but
people.
it's not popular like it used to be.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. Let's not. I'm not gonna weigh in on this one because
Yeah, we shouldn't elaborate on this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Blockbuster, what is your favorite type of movie?
I wonder, Jesse.
Y'all want to go first?
No.
What?
Let's hear yours.
Do you want me to go first to actually explain what I mean though? Because I don't mean genre.
Okay, yes. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I kind of mean genre, but like my favorite type of movie is heist. I love heist movies, not just crime movies, but like specifically heists.
Like Ocean's 11.
Yeah, like
The
Ocean's
Italian
11, Italian Job. Yeah, I'm watching one at the moment called Hell or High Water on Netflix, which is pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, Inside Man's one of my favorites.
All right, I'll go. My favorite type of movie is post-apocalyptic movies, and they can be horror.
I Am Legend.
They can be. I Am Legend is great. Like zombie movies are often post-apocalyptic. Mad Max post-apocalyptic. Like it's not about like zombie. Like I'm not a zombie guy. They happen to be in the genre of movie, but like I don't like the like try and horror scare you thing. I like the post-apocalyptic human side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like that so much. Because
I don't like zombies.
People are terrifying, but turn it up to 20. And I'm just like, no, that I've had enough of that in my life. Thank you. So I tend to like stuff that is supernatural, otherworldly. I would say is probably my favorite subgenre of horror, just because I think it's really horrifying to be put up against something that you don't recognize. Like, a human I recognize, and I can understand that they can either be good or horrible or somewhere in between. But you can't really when it's like a woman with long hair crawling out of the wardrobe in your room and under the covers with you. So, yeah.
I don't like stuff like I love fiction. Fiction's the made up one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. I like fiction. I don't like stuff that can't be real.
Mm.
Like I love heist movies because it could happen or it has happened or, whereas like, I mean, Fast and the Furious, we finally watched Fast 10 the other day and it was full of so much bullshit. It's not funny. And I'm like, I didn't mind, like the movie it was kind of enjoyable, but man, it's just full of shit.
Right.
Whereas like number one, for instance,
yeah,
is so realistic, so much more like could happen.
right. They did like Fast 11 or have to be like they steal the moon, right? Like, they've really jumped the shark, as they would say. For all the old people who understand that reference.
But even you take like the Saw movies. I prefer gore over horror, like jump scares and stuff. Saw movies theoretically could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
Sure.
there's nothing in there that's like magical or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it could theoretically happen if someone was like, mentally fucked up enough to
And had
be
enough
Jigsaw.
money and time. Yeah,
Yeah,
they can do it.
yeah, exactly. But it could technically happen. I mean, in saying that, like, I love magic, so one of my favorite movies is Now You See Me, and I understand that stuff can't really happen. A lot of the stuff they do, but it's still like it's interesting. But like it's like the supernatural stuff. I can't get into that and zombies and all that. I don't know.
Well, there you go. We have 3 different likes there. That worked out.
Well, there we go. I think, you know what
I have one
do
more
like?
question.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I
ask
this one's
I thought we
anything.
had another.
Yeah, this question is just for Grant. Who are your favorite people in the world?
My favorite people in the world are our Patreon supporters. That was actually slick. I will give you that.
Your face was so good when you realized.
Especially the F Clamp level supporter Scott from Dad It Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, David Wood from DW Wood Builds, Brad from I'm Gonna Make, and Chad from Chad's Custom Creations, and everyone else who supports us over there at patreon.com/clamp. If you support us there, you get access to the after show plus the hundreds and hundreds of pre-shows and after shows we did in the past. You also get entered into the Gnome Hammer draw, which is a monthly draw for a hammer from the previous guest Gnome Hammer, and you can get access to that. Everyone who enters there, everyone who's a supporter of this podcast and a couple others gets one entry. And if you sign up on his Patreon, you can get more entries. So if he's making a particular hammer that you really want, you should go and sign up on his Patreon. And you also get a keychain made by me, which are actually in production right now. They're sitting in clamps, being, accepting, the leather is accepting its fate of being squeezed into submission as a clamp keychain. But if you go to patreon.com/clamp, you can get there. And we also have merch. I'm not wearing it today. As anyone know, none of y'all are wearing it. But if you go to our website, you can get access to our merch. It's really high quality stuff and comfortable. And go on over there. I'd really like to see one person in the real world wearing the Clamp podcast design on themselves. That would make me very happy for 2024. So can't wait. And until then, let's go into CLAMPmendations.
CLAMPmendations.
My CLAMPmendation this week is a show/documentary that I watched on Netflix called American Nightmare. This was the most weirdest story I've heard in so long. So I don't want to give too much away, but essentially this couple's asleep. 3 people break in, tie them up, kidnap the woman and all this. And then like the next day, the guy rings up to report his girlfriend as being kidnapped. But like his 911 call is like so mellow and like calm and stuff. And it's like, he clearly did it, right? The cops pin it on him and do no sort of like investigation. They're just trying to find off him where he's put the body or whatever. She turns up 2 days later, just dawdles along. Next thing they think that she set the whole thing up to prove a point to him because he was cheating on her or something, and like all this stuff. And like everyone put it down as like a hoax and that it was all fake and all this. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, who did it? One of them did it. Like the whole story is so unbelievable. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but it's an insane story.
That is what Tyler told me. So
if you've ever seen the movie Gone Girl, they called her the Gone Girl. Like she was copying the movie Gone Girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a hell of a movie to aspire to, but
10 minutes in, I'm like, the guy failed a lie detector test. But then you find out in part 3 that it was an inconclusive and the guy was only saying that he failed it to try and get him to confess. So like the cops the cops were like so they did the worst job ever. You know, like they never tried to find any kidnappers or anything. They just assumed it was the
Yeah.
couple.
Whew.
Hmm.
Yeah. It sounds intense, and
Oh,
I'm definitely going to have to
it
watch
was.
it at
Yeah,
some point.
watch it. It's only 3 parts.
Oh, that's
Part
not
one's
bad.
on him.
Okay.
Part one's on him. Part
Yeah.
two's on her, and then part three is like the whole story.
Yeah. I like this new 3-part thing that Netflix is doing. Like, so much nicer than dragging it out over 6, which is what they used to do. And sometimes I would feel like I
You get
wasn't
so over
learning
it.
anything for like 2 episodes.
Well, and I will say the thing that I loved the most about YouTube at the beginning was that people made things the length they needed to be made. And
Mm.
now I feel like people are getting back into the like, it's almost like, the old 22-minute episodes of episode, or like Netflix trying to, it needs to be 6. 6 is the number. I'm like, well, this story can be told in 4. We'll stretch it out for 6, right?
Mm.
Or no, it needs to be 3, so condense it down. And like, I fucking hate that. I'm like, how long should this season of TV be? As long as it takes to tell the story. That's it.
Yeah. I think this
I'm an
documentary was
old
done
man
really
yelling
well.
at fucking clouds. I think it's what that's happening.
It was very like his side one episode, her side another episode, but they didn't really conflict. Like it was completely separate stories in a way because like it was like they weren't together, so it wasn't like they both had the same thing to talk about in a way.
Yeah, I want to Google it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it.
No,
Okay.
don't Google it. The story,
Yeah.
like the ending is very intriguing and crazy to put together.
Oh, I wonder if I can hear like sirens happening out in the living room right now. So I'm like, I wonder if he's watching it. So I might learn something when I go out there. But my CLAMPmendation for this week, I am going to recognize. I always said recognize, like I'm handing her an award. I am going to recommend everyone check out Momo75 on Instructables. She is probably the most prolific food author that we have. She has 62 contest wins, I think, and almost all of them are food. Her photos are gorgeous. Her documentation is amazing. She explains every single step. Everything about the way she presents it is wonderful. And I especially recommend the Oreo crust no bake cheesecake blackberry bars. I can't remember the exact title, but there was a time where I was like living off of those. So, yeah, if you do nothing else, make those and your life will be better. Yeah.
Wow. I would say, looking at her stuff, I would say everything she makes, even if it's a decoration, seems to be made out of food.
Oh, yeah.
She has a Christmas decoration made of pasta.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
She knows what she likes.
So I'm going to recommend everyone go check out this video from Andrew Richard Makes. It is Crafting My Ultimate Woodworking Workbench. Unveiling My Masterpiece is the current title. He probably will change it up because that's what people do these days. But it has gotten a lot of views, actually, like over 20,000 views in 8 days, which is a lot considering he has less than 1,000 subscribers. So everyone should go check it out. It's a beautiful workbench, but he's got some cool things in the video about kind of like talking to himself from the past through text messages. I don't know. You got to go watch the video.
Oh
and you'll figure it out.
There's a storyline. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's why it's doing so well. I think, I do think like it is a beautiful workbench, and with some really cool features in it. But yeah, go check it out. Good video. Now, the next thing we will do is an Ask Us Anything because we didn't ask enough questions. So go.
Mm-hmm. Ask us anything.
I will quickly say we have heard your demands and Jessy has been tasked to redo the Ask Us Anything song. It won't be this week. It won't be this episode, as you can just tell, but it is coming.
Oh, no, hold on.
I have to
All you got to do is put it through a filter that gets rid of the tinny stuff, and you'll be okay. Just filter it
Jessy
up.
can re-record something. Well,
yeah, I can say it again. I'll do it.
As we talked about, I have this big thing on Monday, and I ain't doing all that this week, so don't expect any special edits this week.
I would appreciate just a normal edit. That would be great.
Yeah.
Grant,
That's what will be done.
Be nice. Okay.
Where my words don't get cut off.
Yeah, my bad. Speaking of cutting people off, Jessy, go ahead.
Yes. Ask us anything for this week. Dave Bauer Art, what inspired you to start podcasting? My answer is Grant asked me. So I will let you guys
Grant's answer is I didn't ask him. So I guess I'm taking this question.
There you go.
Yay.
I don't know. I listened to a lot of podcasts before we started this, and I feel like I was always talking back to the radio, like to the podcast. Like every time I listened to a podcast, I had something that I wanted to say about what they were saying about. And I'm like, I need my own podcast so that I can do that.
There you go.
Pretty much was it.
Like I
kind of just always wanted to have one. Yeah. I like having the banter of talking with other people every week.
It is nice.
There you go. And I thought, why not? Someone else is going to do all the work. I'll do it.
Jimmy DeResta told him to say yes to everything, so he said yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I want to thank TF Turning for the theme song. He said yes to making us a theme song, which we got to reach out to him and get another one. New 2024 ditty. And until next time, if you're looking for us, you can find us on all the usual social media locales by searching for Clamp Podcast or Clampcast, and you can head there. And if you'd like to write us a review, head on over to Apple or Spotify or wherever you can write a review, and we'll read it here, regardless of the star rating.
Bye.
Bye.